Hey family, welcome back to Jack's Making It Home. In this video, we're going to be bringing you guys another episode of our Jack's Taking It Back series.
Yes, so we're taking it back to August of 2016, where we decided to take a trip to visit the western portion of the United States. It was really fun. We're gonna roll the footage, but stay tuned until the end of the video because we'll be back right here to give you some quick tips in case you want to plan a similar trip.
Absolutely, guys. Go ahead and enjoy the video.
Just climbing this rope right here. And if there's a man upstairs, he kept bringing me rain. But I've been sending up prayers and something's changed. I think I finally found my hallelujah. I've been waiting for this moment all my life. Now all my dreams are coming true, yeah. I've been waiting for this moment. It's good to be alive right about now. I got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric wavy when I turn it on. Off from my city, off from my home. We're flying up, no ceiling when we in our zone. I got that sunshine in my pocket. Got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off of it. Moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it. So don't stop. And under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already know. So just imagine. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel good creeping up on you. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. I can't stop the feeling. So just dance, dance, dance. I can't stop the feeling. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. Ooh, it's something magical. It's in the air, it's in my blood, it's rushing on. I don't need no reason, don't need control. I fly so high, no ceiling when I'm in my zone. Cause I got that sunshine in my pocket. Got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off of it. Moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it. So don't stop, stop, stop. Under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already know. So just imagine. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel good creeping up on you. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. I can't stop the feeling. So just dance, dance, dance. I can't stop the feeling. So just dance, dance, dance. Stop the feeling. So just dance, dance, dance. I can't stop the feeling. Yeah. So keep dancing. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. I can't stop the. 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 Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance.
Alright guys, so we're back. We really hope that you enjoyed that video. It's actually, it's in yours, right? Your
Yeah.
top three?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, so it's in our top three together of our favorite trips that we've ever taken. At the top are the two trips that we took this year, which is the South Africa trip as well as the Dubai Seychelles trips. Those kind of bounce back and forth for me, I think for her as well. I'm not positive. But that's definitely our top two.
Yes.
And then right behind those two is this trip right here. It's really dope trip and also one of our favorite videos. So
Yeah.
we don't really get tired of it.
Yeah, and I just want to say really briefly that we've gone to a few other countries outside of the United States, so that was surprising to me that this Western United States trip is in our top three. So
Yeah, it's so many like gems within the United States that people just kind of brush to the side because it's, you know, it's the United States, so it's like it's home, you know.
Yeah.
But like it's a different world over there, I feel like. But anyway, we promised you guys some tips, so that's what we're jumping into right now. First general tip that we have for you guys is to get the national park pass. It's about 40, I think if I remember, they may have changed the price, but I think we paid $40 a person, and it's good for the whole year. It lets you in any national park within the US for free. Well, not free because you paid $40, but use the pass to get into the park. But yeah, it's very beneficial if you go into several parks.
And then we would say to make sure you rent a car. Obviously, we were traveling across multiple states, and it just made it a lot easier to have a car. Most of the places we go, we recommend renting a car, but definitely for this trip, rent a car.
Absolutely, and that's about it for the general tips. As you saw in the video, the first place that we flew into was Salt Lake City. That was our general hub area, so that's where we, like I said, flew into. We didn't stay there long because as soon as we got out of there, we shot straight up to Yellowstone. But the day that we were there, we went and saw the Great Salt Lake, so I would say definitely go see that. It's
Yes,
cool to
it was
check off your
so
bucket
beautiful.
list. Pretty big. and like she said, it's really, really pretty. Also, stay within the city. It's a really beautiful city. It's really dope. It's a nice little vibe to it. And we ate at a place called Lucky 13.
Yeah.
That was really, really good.
And affordable.
And yeah, it was really cheap. And it was actually rated like the top, if I remember correctly, at that time. It had like the top burgers in Salt Lake City. So it was a really, really dope spot. That's actually probably why we decided to go. But so that's about it for the tips for Salt Lake City. Like we said, it's just a general hub. We flew into it, and from there we shot up to Yellowstone National Park, which we do have a few tips for you. Beautiful park, gorgeous, crisp air. Like as soon as we got in, we were just like in awe because it was just like massive and clean. Like it just felt so pure. But it's the first national park within the United States, and it gets really, really popular. Gets a lot of visitors in yearly. And with the first tip, I would say get there early and be organized. Kind of have your day planned out so you can try to avoid the crowds. The most popular attraction is Old Faithful, which is a geyser that erupts every so often. Like they have a schedule that it kind of estimates when the next eruption is, but try to get there early in the morning or later in the evening just to avoid the crowds, because it will kind of get busy. But they do have benches there, so like you can kind of wait out there, and it was kind of cool. Yeah. But wildlife is also a major attraction at Yellowstone. Again, get there early in the morning or later in the evening to see that. Bring binoculars. That's one thing that we wish we had that we did not. There's one place called Lamar Valley, I believe it's called, and it's just a wide open stretch of field that has different wildlife and stuff. And then like without the binoculars or a good telescopic lens on your camera, you can't really appreciate what you're seeing, because it just looks like open space with some tiny dots. But like it's a lot of stuff out there. But wear some comfortable shoes or good hiking shoes. There's a lot of trails out there if you have the time. One of the falls that we would go see, I think it's called Lower Falls or Artist Point or something like that. It takes a little bit of walking to get there, so go ahead and do that. Visitor Center is really, really pretty grand. Beautiful structure, just really, really nice, and get you a nice little souvenir in there. If you see a bunch of cars stopped, go ahead and stop with them, because they're looking at something.
Yes.
And like it's so much to see out there, and like it's nature, so you never really know. But like you might just have like a huge bison just laying in the ditch beside the road. Like we ran into that. So like just be careful. They don't recommend driving at night through there, so go ahead and plan your day around that. And you have any more tips to add around?
Also the Grand Prismatic Springs. Those were really beautiful, so make sure you see those. And it's so funny because Raja didn't even know I was going to say this, but the air, he mentioned it before, it's so clean there. And I've never really been somewhere, I've heard people say I can smell the clean air or see the clean air, or the water so clean. I haven't experienced that until we went to Yellowstone. It was just so pure and refreshing. So that just stuck out to me.
Yeah, for sure. And then while we're on the topic, since it's in the same area and we drove through it coming out, Grand Teton National Park, go ahead and check that out. We don't have too many tips for that. Along the same lines, just get there early or later in the evening to avoid the crowds. It's one stretch of road that kind of just wraps through the park. Just go ahead and take that. There's several stop locations. There has different viewpoints. There's a viewpoint overlooking Snake River. There's a viewpoint towards the bottom of the park that has the shed that you saw the picture of that sits in front of the mountains. So like that's a really, really gorgeous area. And surprisingly, it wasn't that busy when we went. No. But yeah, tip wise, just kind of follow the same tips. Wear some good, comfortable shoes. Get gas before entering the park. Try early in the mornings, later in the evenings, and stay on that one main strip, and you'll see pretty much everything that you need to see. And there's plenty of wildlife there as well. Anything to add for Grand Teton?
Nope.
Cool.
Oh yeah, Zion's Angels Landing. Yeah.
All right, so for Bryce Canyon, guys, we don't have too many tips. We actually kind of drove through kind of quickly because it was about to have like a pretty big storm, and we're on our way to the hotel as well. But with Bryce Canyon, I would say one tip is just to take your time and admire the different viewpoints. There's several throughout the park, and like it has different formations. They're called hoodoos, which are like the vertical columns. But go ahead and admire those. Zion National Park, we did spend some time there, and I do have a few tips for that. first thing first, get there. It's another really popular park, but get there early to try to get in front of the crowds as much as possible, and have your day planned out. If you're going to do a hike, know which one you're going to do, because they take some time. You have Angel's Landing, you have the Narrows, you have Observation Point, I think that another one is called, but and there's plenty of other hikes there, but know which one that you want to do so you can jump straight to it. Make use of the free shuttle. They do have a shuttle that carries you through the park at the different places. It's open air shuttle, so it's really nice, but make use of that and that'll save you some time. Let's see, again, comfortable shoes and hiking shoes if you're going to do a kind of strenuous hike. Bring plenty of water. Let's see,
even a hiking stick if that's your thing.
Especially if you're doing the Narrows, because the Narrows actually goes through water, so you might need that. And then also, Zion is known for their birds. Like, it has over like 300 species of birds. Like, we saw a California condor while we were there, which is really dope. That's the first time I saw one in the wild. But yeah, look out just for the different birds. And do you have any tips for Zion?
Yes. So Angel's Landing was...
Don't let her steer you wrong.
Listen, I'm gonna just keep it real. Raja was not nervous. He was going at a pretty steady pace up Angel's Landing, but it was so misleading to me. I didn't do any research before going on these trips. I didn't tune in to exactly what I had committed to doing, and so halfway up Angel's Landing, it's a pretty simple hike. It's very wide, like it's great. And I remember being on the bus and they were kind of giving us warning signs, and I was like, why did they give us these warning signs? Once you get to the halfway point, it becomes extremely narrow. Let me remind you, here and here in the video, extremely narrow. You guys, literally, if you look maybe like a foot and a half to either side of you, it is straight down, and that's not an exaggeration. You see the pictures, you can use Google. Straight down. It's like if you make a wrong step, you don't have a branch you can hang on to. It's just death,
You have chains on one side
in some portions, not all. So I'm just saying, I'm not afraid of heights, but I was nervous. My legs were shaking. I was praying. So I just want to give a fair warning. I promised God if he got me off that mountain, I would not do it again. I hope I don't renege on that promise, but I just have to let you all know that for me, it was quite an experience. I'm very happy we made it off safely. For other people like Raja, there were people with their children on their backs running up the mountain. There were people doing handstands once they got to the top. So, you know, some people...
Was it rewarding?
It was rewarding, but then I had to get back down. You know, I struggled going up just because of my nerves, and then I had to get back down. It was actually easier coming down than going up, I would say. I just felt like I had more control and my balance was better. But just a word from the wise.
Yeah, like she said, there are some narrow portions on Angel's Landing. Gorgeous hike. Just take your time, be careful, and just stay safe.
Yeah.
Like I said, there are chains in certain portions, and you can just use the chain, but it's usually on one side. And just be mindful of other people on the trail, because some people are coming down, or some people might be going a little slower. So just like I said, take your time. If you need to step to the side, let the people through. But plan ahead, do your research, know your hike that you're going to do, and know what you're committing to. So the next tip that we have for you guys is for Horseshoe Bend. We did sunrise, so we hiked through the night. It's a really short hike. I think it was like a half a mile or 3/4 of a mile, something like that. It's short, but have some headlamps if you want to do the hike through the night to catch the sunrise, because you do want to see where you're going. And again, have comfortable shoes and a little bit of water. And then for... what was the next place? Antelope Canyon.
Mm-hmm.
We did the lower Antelope Canyon. I think we went through Kentours, if I remember correctly. And for that, just make sure you don't have to, but try to book in advance so you have no questions getting there. And do you have anything to add for any of those?
Yes, Antelope Canyon, the tour guides, well, the canyon is on a reservation, so the tour guides are Native Americans, and any of the excursions or events that we did where we were immersed kind of like with the locals and the culture was just really eye-opening and a great experience to me. I remember I just kept thinking, I can't believe they live in the same country we do, just because they're just so progressive, and the way they live is so different, and
everything is self-sustained.
It's self-sustained, yeah. So I just couldn't believe, like, I just thought it was so dope, all of the things they do on their own. But it's like, you're still here in the USA.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't believe it. It was awesome, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But so that was cool.
And that was a good segue, because we're actually about to talk about our trip to our visit to Havasupai, which is a Native American reservation. Havasupai actually means the people of the blue-green water, I believe. And like, you may have seen like different pictures of Havasu Falls, Mooney Falls, Beaver Falls, all those, and may not have known it. But it really is that blue. Like, it really is not Photoshop. Like, it's one of those places that looks just like the pictures, if not better.
Yeah,
like,
it looks better in person than the pictures.
Ridiculous. But like, we got tips for days for this. We didn't kind of like organize this, so we might ramble a little bit, but stay with us. We're going to try to get as much of them off as we can. First tip: get your reservation. You have to have a reservation for this place. It's like 8 miles down to the check-in point. It's another 2 miles from there to get to the campground. But the check-in point, like 8 miles down, and then you do your reservation. You show them proof of your reservation. When we went in 2016, you had to pay at that point, and then you went on to the campgrounds. Nowadays, I believe that you pay beforehand. So once you go down, you just prove that you know, you have your reservation. You get your little badge for your tent and your bag, and you just keep on moving. But like I said, get your reservation early. If you don't, they will literally make you turn around. So like, you would go down 8 miles in. You won't have a reservation.
Into a canyon.
Yeah, this is the Grand Canyon. It's hot.
Yeah.
But you go down into the canyon, they'll make you walk right back out 8 miles. So like, it's no joke. So make sure you have your reservation. I think it opens up for the campground in February. For the lodge, I think it opens in June. I might be mistaken, but I think that's the case.
Sorry. Whoops.
I think that's the case. So yeah, get your reservations, and like, they go really, really fast. When we went in 2016, like, I think they had like 2 people answering the phones or something like that, maybe even 1. So oftentimes, like, I was trying to call in and I just got a busy signal. And by the time I finally got through, I started calling on the very first day. I made at least 100 calls. Yeah. I started calling the very first day that they opened. By the time I got through, it was a week later, and they were already sold out for the entire year. And then like, I kept calling, and we lucked up around like April or May, and they had a cancellation for the time that we wanted to go. Like, it worked out.
And sometimes he would get me to call too, so it was like both of us were calling several times a day.
Yeah, just be patient if you want to go. And like I said, now I think you have to pay before you get your reservation. So know how many nights you want to stay, how many people you got, and then have your money together, because you have to pay before you get your reservation now. What else tip?
Also know that it's weather contingent.
Yeah.
So I think you know a little bit more about that than I do, but
yeah, you have monsoon season, which is like July, August, which is around the time they went, and then like, I think early September. But it gets flooded out every once in a while, and then they might just shut it down altogether. So they actually had a pretty big flash flood this year, and the water turns like chocolate brown. We'll try to put in a picture here, but the water turns chocolate brown, and if it gets to a certain level in the campgrounds or the trail they deem unsafe, they'll just shut it down. So even if you have a reservation, they just won't let anybody in. Prepare.
whew,
Like,
prepare.
Seriously, like, prepare. Like, do your hike. Like, it's no joke. Like, for real. Like, I tried to take it a little light. Like, we prepared, don't get me wrong, but I struggled coming out.
Yeah, so we're gonna
for
skip
real.
to the bad part, and then we'll go back to the good part. The bad part is that, like Raja said, you hike back out of the Grand Canyon. And so I think what our issue was, well, most of it is flat. So the majority of the hike is flat. I think when you're at the campsite, like the first mile or so is kind of uphill, and then it kind of flattens out, and then the last mile and a half, I believe,
Switchbacks.
are switchbacks.
straight
Insert
up.
picture here. They're straight up, and it's just really steep, and again, it's hot. And I think our issue is that we were a little salt depleted.
We just didn't prepare very well. That was our first like major hike, like staying and camping, and I think we slacked a little bit on the preparation side of just planning like the types of foods and like
Right.
we only had water down there. Like we didn't have anything with salt in it.
Right.
So like she said, we're a little dehydrated and salt depleted. So that just played a toll. And then the other thing with the preparation, like we did hikes around our neighborhood and stuff. And like at one point we were doing 10-mile hikes, which was really good. But when we got out and I thought about it, we never did a back-to-back hike. Like we might have hiked on a Monday and then did another one on Thursday or
because
every
for
other
this
day.
trip we went down and we stayed one night and then we came back out the next day.
So to kind of picture it, like we did 8 miles to the check-in point, another 2 miles to the campground area. We set up our tent and then we hiked a good 6 miles down to Beaver Falls. So we saw that and we came back. So already that's 12 and 10, so 22. And then we had to hike back out from there. So we did like 30 miles in like 36 hours. So like for us, like we didn't prepare for that amount of time, but have plenty of water. They do have a spring down there that you can have, and if you need, have some purification tablets just to be on the safe side.
Yeah,
we did have a
life straw.
Yeah, we purchased a life straw water bottle that was really, really good because at one point we actually ran out of water. I think it was the hike to Beaver Falls, and I took some of the blue green water, the actual spring, not the actual spring, but the actual water, and the life straw worked well. What other tips we got?
So again, this is when you go down there, you mentioned a lodge, but most people I think camp, so like you're in a tent. So we packed, we had the blow up mattresses, as in like the mattress you blow with your mouth. We had, make sure you have bug spray, all of that type of thing. We did research about how you need to store your food, and we bought
because the animals are savages, like them squirrels, like they will eat all your food.
they'll eat your food. We also purchased dry food, so like we had, what is it called?
Jet boil.
Yeah, a jet boil. So we mixed our dry food. We had like lasagna, instant lasagna,
really
so it was good. But so we could go on and on about the things, but just like you're legit camping out, there's no bathroom, or I think there may be there's an area, but I'm just
a bathroom,
saying, for girls and stuff,
but it's spaced out. Like no, there's legit bathrooms, but they're spaced out, so it's not like one that you have like right next door.
I didn't use a bath.
You did.
I did?
Yes.
I don't remember. I don't remember using the bathroom. Okay, we'll cut that part.
It's okay, we can keep it. But there are bathrooms.
They're bathrooms. But anyways, you're out in nature, and so just prepare for such. We brought hammocks. Some people sleep in hammocks, I believe. I don't know if we actually used ours, but we packed those.
Yep.
And make sure so the key is you want to pack what you need, but not too much, because remember you're hiking with it. However, like I got a little bit cold in the middle of the night, so just make sure you pack whatever you'll need to be comfortable sleeping in a tent. It wasn't bad though. That was my first time doing real camping, and it was really nice. And
The dogs are here.
Yeah, the dogs want to be in this. So yeah, I think that's
But we're gonna wrap it up. A couple things. We did say that we hike our stuff in. They do, you can purchase a mule to hike your bags in. We didn't do that, but that's one thing that you can do. You can purchase horseback rides so it can ride you down and back out. And then the third thing that you can purchase is a helicopter ride, and that's to get you down to the campground. You still have to, to the check-in point, you still have to hike to the campground, which is only 2 miles, but and it'll get out. But just be careful because the native people, they have priority. So you might be in line at 8 a.m. and you might not ever get out. So just be careful with that, even if you paid. It's the last place I think in the U.S. that gets their mail by mule. That's really, really dope. So send yourself a package. It has a really cool stamp. But yeah, I think that's about it.
Yeah, and the whole mule thing and getting the mail delivered by mule, we said that they're self-sustaining. They make their own electricity, water. They have their own schools. So I just thought that was like amazing, because I feel like we are so comfortable with just like the government providing everything for us, in the fact that they sustain their lifestyle themselves other than mail.
Yeah,
that is just that's amazing. So I really enjoyed just like being immersed in that culture.
Yeah, it's really, really dope, guys. Like we said, it's one of our favorite trips. We hope that you guys enjoyed the video. We have plenty of other tips that we can keep rambling on about, but we're gonna cut it right here. If you have any questions, go ahead and shoot us a comment on the YouTube, shoot us a message on Instagram,
or
whatever
send
you
us
want
an
to do.
email.
Or that Jackson's with an S at jacksonmakeitahome.com. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, go ahead and hit the like button, share, subscribe. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. Until next time.